Hello and welcome to Pedra's Community Spotlight. This month, we are delighted to be highlighting our partners, National Eczema Association, and all of the phenomenal work they are doing in both research and patient support. Today, I am delighted to introduce to you Amy and Ella, and the two of them are going to share their story and their journey with eczema. Let's get started.
Hi, we're so excited to be here to talk to you today. Can you say
Yay!
hi, Ella?
So why don't you just tell me a little bit about yourself and your family story, and we'll just get to know each other.
Sounds great. My name is Amy Trenelich. I am Ella's mom. Do you want to introduce yourself? Okay. Ella's being a little shy right now. Ella is in first grade. She is an eczema warrior. She has been battling eczema since she was 8 weeks old. She was diagnosed very early in infancy. She has had a very rough road, but we are so grateful to be at a point now where her eczema is much better controlled on Dupixent. It's been a game-changing medication for us, and Ella's enjoyed finally being a kid and really being able to do normal kid things. During her eczema journey, she lost out on a lot of that. You know, I feel oftentimes that eczema stole a lot of her childhood away, you know, where you take for granted things like playing in the sand or swimming in the ocean or swimming in a pool, you know, all the things all the other kids do and all her sisters do. And Ella would have to miss out on a lot of those things because of her eczema. To take you through a little bit of her journey, like I said, Ella was diagnosed around 8 weeks old. And at the time when she was diagnosed, I thought, you know, I mean, here I had been a pediatric ICU nurse at that time for, you know, almost 20 years. And I thought, all right, eczema, we can do eczema. I mean,
can handle it.
We can, you know, and I often looking back, you know, I have that snapshot of myself sitting in that doctor's office of that time thinking, how foolish you were. I, you know, I was a mom and a healthcare provider who was completely God bless you. God bless you.
Bless you.
Completely oblivious to, you know, the lived experience of eczema and what the true burden of eczema is. I don't think I ever could have anticipated what lie ahead for us or how dark the journey would feel, trying to, you know, find Ella relief and, you know, get her back to living and get our family back on track. It was, got the sneezes. It was a very tough journey. So like I said, you know, we have been through, so the diagnosis at 8 months and then, you know, around 10 months, by that time, I would say eczema had really taken over Ella's body and taken over our lives, and everything we did, you know, everything my other kids did revolved around Ella's eczema, you know, and how she was feeling. And, you know, we'd skip parties. We'd, you know, she'd come home from school. She'd, you know, she was really in a tough spot. By 3 years old, her eczema was so terrible and her quality of life had diminished so greatly. She was up almost 24 hours a day. She was miserable all the time. She lived in wetsuits and wet wraps and back and forth to, you know, allergist and dermatologist and immunologist and you name it. I mean, we were just on the circuit of specialists trying to find her relief. We made the tough decision at that time to start her on methotrexate injections to try to
not an easy choice.
It was a heart-wrenching choice, you know, and having the medical background, you know, I knew the risks that we were taking. But I think it speaks to how desperate we were, you know, we were desperate. We knew that we couldn't be any worse off at this point. So if there was something, even something that had risks, we were willing to try it. We were willing to just throw our hats in the ring and say, let's just give it a go.
Right.
You know, for Ella, it worked, you know, I mean, she did get some relief. It didn't cure her. And we still had to do a lot of environmental, you know, modifications, and she had a lot of diet modifications. Yeah. So Ella was saying one of the tough things about being on methotrexate was that she had to get blood work a lot. So it was it was a weekly injection that we did at home. And then she would have to get frequent blood work. So it was a lot of needles and a lot of tears, a lot of sadness, but a lot of happiness because she was starting to get back to a little bit of life.
Right. There's some relief there.
Yeah, there was kind of our first glimpses of hope and our first glimpses of relief that maybe we can get back on track of childhood.
Yeah.
And then around 4 years old, we, started hearing Dupixent, this, drug that was, so life-changing in a lot of the adult population. And we started talking about it with our specialists, and we started trying to get Ella approved for it, and took us about 1.5 years because of her age to get her approved. She was approved at when she was about 5.5, and it changed the course of our lives. Changed the course of Ella's life. I said it was like watching this beautiful soul burst out of this broken skin and just take on life, and Ella is notorious for, we say, doing everything at a 10. If she's laughing, she's at a 10. If she's mad, she's at a 10. If she's being silly, she's at a 10. But we said she conquered eczema at a 10, and we just have been celebrating since then. She had her first ice cream cone. Once her eczema seemed a little bit more controlled, we were able to start adding foods back into her diet. She was able to start eating, dairy and baked egg and milk, all these things, right? What about that first ice cream? Was that pretty amazing? Do you remember that? And we were all cheering, Ella gets to eat ice cream.
What? No.
Yeah. You don't remember?
No.
Well, they've eaten so much ice cream, you probably don't even remember that first time, right?
Oh, that had to feel so freeing. And Amy, you've touched on so many things that, are just, it's really sends families into crisis. There are so many dark days. It's not just affecting the child with eczema, it's affecting the whole family. When you're talking about your child not being able to sleep, your whole household is disrupted. And
absolutely.
When they're babies, you expect to not be sleeping, but when you get past the baby stage, and you realize just how valuable that sleep is, and you just can't go on, and it just seeps into your whole life. And then really, like, I'm hearing just how devastating it was for you to have to watch Ella not be a kid.
Yeah.
I mean, that just had to be so heartbreaking. And then to have a treatment like methotrexate, which comes with its own inherent concerns and worries, and being a healthcare provider, that's a huge burden for you as the mother to carry as well. So, wow. I mean, your journey is crazy.
A multifaceted disease that, is so shaded. People think it's just broken skin,
right?
But broken, dreams and broken hopes for your child. And, it's broken nights of sleep, like you said, and you're in constant crisis mode, and you're doing it on zero sleep. It's like the newborn stage that never ends.
Never ends.
Fascinating fact, we had a newborn when Ella was just
oh my goodness.
At her worst. We laughed, she used to sleep more than Ella did.
Oh my goodness.
Thank God.
Oh, wow. Wow. What an incredible journey.
It affects the whole family. I mean, there is just not one facet of family life that is not affected. We had to relocate our dog to our parents' house. We had to all make environmental changes for our home. We had to miss a lot of celebrations. The other kids would get turfed off to other family members so we could go to doctor's appointments. And my husband and I, we would trade off missing work, to stay home with Ella if she was home for school. I mean, it is the lived experience. Is just something, like I said, I never could have anticipated at the start of this journey.
Yeah. I think that message in itself is so powerful, especially coming from you as a healthcare provider. Like, you don't expect that this is going to be the case. Like, and to have your whole world completely blown open just completely, I mean, I just can't even imagine.
Yeah.
So it sounds like Dupixent is relatively new then to you guys and Ella.
Yeah, it is. It was just recently approved in the 6 and above age group. And so we approved just a little bit prior to the official approval. But like I said, it did take us quite some time to get that approval. And, we were just waiting. Ella was on methotrexate and immune suppressed as a pandemic roaring down on top of us. And you're thinking, like, what is this going to mean for her? This is a therapy we chose, and now we're facing a pandemic with an immune suppressed child. So another reason we were so thankful that, our specialists worked so hard to get her approved. It was wonderful. Did you want to? Yeah, Ella, one of the things she wanted to share a little bit too was that on top of her eczema, she also has severe food allergies, and she's had a number of life-threatening food reactions to food. And that's been a really hard part for her to live with now. And even though her eczema is really well controlled, she still is, facing a lot of the food allergies, which is tough. Why don't you share with Jen? I bet she'd like to hear.
I have some questions for you, Ella, if you would be willing. So one thing I want to know is your mom mentioned that you got to have ice cream and milk, but what was the best part about when you started to feel better?
Well, the best part was that I could be a kid again.
And what did that mean for you? Like, what did you get to do as a kid again?
I got to swim.
Oh. You want to tell Jen about this summer? What did you join this summer?
Going to the beach.
You went to the beach, but what did you do? Swim and dive teams?
I also did swim and dive.
Ella competed on our swim team and our dive team, and she was the diving championship for the 6 and under girls this year.
Congratulations, Ella. That is a big deal. Wow. So this has totally changed your life then. Yeah, that's pretty cool. It's pretty amazing that something like that can change our lives so dramatically, huh? What's school like now that you're feeling so much better?
Oh, I'm glad that my friends, they still want to be friends with me.
Yeah, of course. I mean, who wouldn't want to be friends with you? I want to be friends with you.
Yeah, you're a good friend.
I bet you are. And I love that your mom described you as doing everything at a 10, because I feel that about you, but I also understand that I am also a person that does things at a 10. So Amy, I want to shift gears a little bit. You've talked about what a burden this has been on your family and what a big relief it has been to finally have a drug on board that is working for your family. So talk to me a little bit about National Eczema Association and how you got involved with them.
Yes, so I connected with Nia very early on in our journey. I think like most moms, you get a diagnosis and, you take right to the internet, how can, where can I find resources? What can I do? What does this mean for us? And immediately I was connected with Nia. I went to their website and found just an overwhelming, beautiful plethora of information and resources. And, one of the first things that I really took advantage of through Nia is their Seal of Acceptance program, which is on eczema-friendly products that don't have a lot of the typical additives that irritate skin with eczema. There's a sign, there's a little E on these. And, when you go to the pediatrician or your dermatologist and they say, these are, choose these lotions, and you go into Target and there's 900 lotions on the wall and you're tired, sleep deprived.
Right.
Having someone else do that work for me, having done that legwork, saying like, this has all the good things and none of the bad things. It was like winning the golden prize. So we, the golden rule, right? Even my husband now, when he goes to the store and he says, I can't find the lotion, I said, just get one with the seal of acceptance on it. And,
doesn't matter. Just as long as it's got that E on it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like sunshine on the darkest days, one less thing we had to do for ourselves that somebody already did for us.
That is so key, isn't it? It's like, if just one thing you don't have to think about,
Yes.
Just
Exactly.
taking away that one thing just like makes such a difference.
Such a difference, you know, and
Yeah.
reading ingredients on the back, you know, standing in the aisles.
So overwhelming.
The kids are with you and they're crying and they want to go and Ella's itching, you know, to take that piece out of it was, I mean, like I said, it was a blessed gift.
Oh, yeah, I can imagine.
And then as the years went on, we, you know, we relied heavily on Nia, on the community, on the relationships we built. We became active in their Itching for a Cure campaigns. It was one way for our family to do something that felt like we were affecting change, you know, eczema, living with eczema. We often felt like we had no control. We had no control over what we tried to control it and we were at a loss. So being able to take part in something positive, raise money, donate to an organization we loved, knowing it was going towards helping our future and Ella's future, it was a really positive experience for the whole family to get involved in. Can you tell Jen what we did one year to do for National Eczema Association? Do we do t-shirts?
We do t-shirts.
Ella helped us design an Eczema Warrior t-shirt that we sold.
It's amazing.
That was a lot of fun. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
Can you say that again?
Well done. It matters so much to take back some of that power and control, doesn't it? Like you've just been completely rendered powerless by this disease and this experience. And then to be able to access the support of Nia, like, and the research, I mean, they have such a robust research program.
Yes.
I mean, you're like you said, affecting change. It's just it's happening right before your eyes. You're getting that control back. You're able to say, we're doing this because it's going to change Ella's life in the near term. It's not something you like, it's 20 years away.
Right. And especially, you know, in the last couple of years, you know, it's like suddenly eczema community's voice is being heard and you're seeing all of these new therapies coming to market. I mean, it is exciting. It's finally a community that has lived with such a feeling of hopelessness for so long, you know, is finally, there's hope on the horizon, you know, and Nia is just leading this charge. And, you know, I say to other moms all the time, get to Nia, look at the research. It will bring you hope. You will be empowered. It will arm you with the tools that you need to advocate for your kids. And the community will wrap you up in the biggest hug, you know, and even though everybody's story, you know, or their journey with eczema is very unique, there's a lot of common ground there.
Yeah. That's good to hear because sometimes you know, like you said earlier, like it is very unique and it's different from child to child. And if everybody can find that common ground, then you do have something like Nia and you can all participate in and you can help each other get through things. I mean, that's one of the biggest reasons why we all rely on community in general, right? So, I mean, it's awesome. So, what was it like? What was your journey like with your providers and how did you have to do a lot of advocating for Ella or were they sort of in the trenches with you? So,
you know, initially, you know, our pediatricians kind of made that initial, like it's eczema, let's try a couple things. And along with the eczema, I mean, you know, I just kept bringing her back and saying, nothing's getting better. She's still up all night. She's still crying all night. We'll give it a little bit more time. You know, maybe it's reflux on top of eczema. So we would treat her for that. Or maybe she's just a fussy baby, you know, and it was like, she's miserable. I mean, she is absolutely miserable. And there was a lot that I needed to learn about skincare and bathing and wet wraps and lotions that I was not getting. And not that they didn't want to teach us, they just were ill-equipped to manage eczema to the severity that Ella had it. So they did get us connected with a dermatologist pretty quickly. We did have to hop around a little bit until we got with a team, a dermatologist and allergist that worked together, that really listened to us and then worked together to get us to where we needed to be. But yes, I felt like I was always bringing to the table, like, what about this? Or can we try this? And oftentimes just sitting in the office and crying, like, we can't live like this. You know, you are seeing us for 15 minutes, but we are going back to the darkest places, you know, where
Right.
we're going to be up all night and tomorrow's going to be a rough day again. Like we have to have some hope here.
Right. It's almost like you don't even want to go home because you just know what's going to happen when you get there, you know?
Well, that's exactly what it is. And you would kind of hold on to this idea that we're going to the doctor. We're going to the doctor.
Today we're going to get an answer.
Right. You know, and you'd walk out with that same feeling of just dread, you know, at what point are they truly going to understand how deeply this is affecting us, you know? And you get to the point where you know, I said to her dermatologist one day, I said, I'm losing my mind. I mean, I am so desperate that the other night I came downstairs and I told my husband, I found the cure. We just need to get this bottle of water from a river in France. I've read all about it. And you know, it was just, you could.
Did you get the water?
We did not get the water. Daddy talked me out the water.
But you get to that place where you're just completely irrational. Like you just have to hold on to something.
Right. That's exactly what it is. Like you have to believe that there's something. I said, what I wouldn't give to write one of those Amazon 5-star reviews where they say, this lotion cured my eczema or this vitamin was what cured it. I mean, we tried everything, you know, and you're willing to try everything. I said, if somebody had said to me, go out to the front yard in a full moon, hang from the tree and howl with the moon, and that will cure her eczema, you would have seen me hanging from the tree in the front yard. I mean, anything,
hands down,
you know,
anything.
You know, you're desperate. There's nothing worse than watching your child suffer and feel helpless, you know, and have them beg, you know, it hurts, it itches, help me. They're covered in blood and, you know, from scratching, you know, and we'd go out and people would say, well, can you put some lotion on it? Or, I mean, you know,
right. Like you haven't tried that.
You're like, yeah, you know, or they say, have you heard of Eucerin? We use Eucerin. And I'm like, yes, we've tried Eucerin. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Everybody means well, but until you like find your people, like with Nia, it's just really hard to constantly be inundated with that.
Right.
You know, they mean well, so you can't be upset, but at the same time, you just go away muttering.
Right. Well, right. And, you know, I mean, I get it. I'm walking, you know, at one point, Ella's eczema on her head was so severe that she actually scratched all of her hair out, pulled it out. I mean, she was bald at the age of about 2.5, 3 years old.
Oh,
completely bald from scratching. Yeah. And she had eczema spots in her hair. She also developed very severe molluscum. So she had that.
Oh my gosh.
Lotions and grease. So I knew when I took her out, people were like, hey, what are you doing? You know?
Yeah.
So you always felt this feeling of just like, nothing I'm doing is good enough. I don't know what else to do. I feel awful as a mother, you know?
Right. I mean, and that's just like outwardly, because internally you already feel failed. Like your child is suffering. Like as a parent, that is the one thing we're here to do is to present, you know, stop them.
We're the protectors, right?
Yeah, we have to protect them. And so you're fighting that internal battle, and then you have to go out and fight it externally about yourself. I mean, it just does your head in.
It does your head in. That's exactly it. It does your head in. And, you know, some days it was like all I could do to just find 5 minutes in a quiet place and just cry and just say, I'm going to let everything out. Yep. And I'm going to go back out there and we're going to just keep moving forward and believing that there has to be better days. There has to be something, you know? And when we finally got to that place, it was truly a weight just lifted. Yeah. You know, and I said that with you know, working with Nia, it's become my way of almost therapy, you know, of coming to terms and grieving over kind of that lost childhood, coming to terms with all the things that we experienced and feeling like if I can do something positive and give back and help another family who's just starting this journey, that will make this whole thing, this whole journey, that will make it worth it. That will make it feel like there was a reason, you know? So it's been really important to me.
I completely empathize with that. And I mean, we do as human beings, we struggle to find reason in the things that happen that are terrible. And they have to have meaning in order for us to grieve and heal and move on. And so to be able to channel all those emotions you spent years working through into this community that's NIA has got to be, like you said, just absolutely therapeutic.
It is so therapeutic. It is truly, we had our Eczema Expo, which is NIA's big expo. Next year it will be in person. We can't wait.
Yay!
This year. But I happened to connect with another mom who was local to us here. And she reached out to me after Expo and said they just can't find a provider that's listening. Mm-hmm. And her daughter is 8 years old and she's suffering so much. And, we talked about local providers. She got into one of, with the doctors where we're at, and her daughter's starting to Dupixent next week. And she said, feels just like a weight is lifted off. The same feeling that I had, like, oh, wow, there is hope. Hope still does exist, And so moments like that just make it that much more, just empowering, and it just brings peace,
Yeah, you don't have that elephant sitting on your chest anymore. Like, you can take a deep breath,
right,
and fall asleep at night knowing that everybody's going to get a good night's sleep.
Right.
It's life-changing.
Be able to, focus and, learn. You.
Me. Yeah.
You. So let's talk about you, Ella. What is your favorite thing about school?
My favorite thing about school that I have the nicest teacher.
I love that. And what's your favorite thing to do when you're not at school? I know you love to swim and dive. Is that your favorite thing to do?
I also like to bounce on trampoline.
Good one. Trampoline is awesome.
Yeah.
What's your favorite movie?
Trolls.
Trolls?
Trolls. She likes Poppy. She actually dressed up as Poppy one year. With the
You did? Do you like to sing along with the music?
Not really.
No.
Her and her sisters are big dancers.
Oh, I love that. Dancing is super fun. Do you have a favorite book or bedtime story?
No, I like all bedtime stories.
You do. So do I.
She likes all. Ella's really working on learning to read. So a lot of times these days, Ella's reading us a bedtime story, right, Ella?
Yep. Yeah.
And Ella also really likes fashion, right?
You do. Do you like to sketch out clothes, or do you like to go shopping and pick out and make outfits?
I like to shop for clothes that I'm gonna make, do stuff with it.
So Ella will take an outfit and she'll repurpose it in a different type of outfit. Like, she'll turn pajama pants into an off-the-shoulder dress, right?
I love that.
Yeah.
That's so creative. Do you want to be a fashion designer when you grow up?
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe. Who knows, right? You're good at so many things. My husband and I say, she spent so many of her early years with us trying to fashion clothes, put sleepers on backwards and wetsuits and, covering her hands, that now she's finally excited to be able to wear normal clothes or a bikini, right? You got to wear a bikini this summer. You got to show all your skin at the beach. That was fun.
So fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, you have to be like, look at me, my skin is beautiful and it feels good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I won't keep you both for very much longer. I just have one question, and it's the same question for each of you.
Okay.
Ella, I'll ask you first. What is the one thing that you want the world to know about eczema?
I want it. I don't really know.
You can think about it. Do you want me to ask your mom first? What you think about it? Okay. Amy, what's what's something that you would want providers, families who are just getting this diagnosis like you did in the beginning? What's something that you would want people to know, or researchers even?
Yeah, I think the strongest message I would want to send to people just starting out on their eczema journey is you are not alone. You know, you feel isolated. You feel like nobody else is in it with you, and you are not alone. There are so many resources and support systems and providers who want to listen to you. They want to understand your unique story. And, you know, it is so important to fight and fight until you find the community that listens and the providers that listen. You know, to researchers and physicians, I think the most important message is, again, this is a community that needs to be listened to because the experiences are so unique. Mm-hmm. And if you listen, you will find ways to provide the right care and help them really achieve living again, you know, mm-hmm. whether it's identifying that there's mental health needs or mm-hmm. there's losses in academics because of missed school or stresses on the house, you know, on the household or finances, or, you know, there's so many facets of this disease that affect the patient, the families, that I would love to see providers start to, and many do, mm-hmm. but as a standard of care, recognize all these areas that need to be addressed, that it's not just a one size fits all treatment, you know, mm-hmm. The treatment is unique to each patient, and it doesn't just come in a cream, you know, it mm-hmm. comes in education and empathy and understanding and guidance. Those are the things that will make showing up at providers a better experience for the eczema community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think Nia is definitely driving home that message and doing it beautifully with the research.
For sure. I mean, they really have their finger on the pulse of mm-hmm. what is happening, you know, in the eczema community, the needs of people and the unique needs. I mean, there is something for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter what your own personal, you know, journey is, you will find a connection there. You will find mm-hmm. a resource.
Yeah.
And that's pretty phenomenal.
It is. In a disease that is so varied and so unique, it is so important that there is something for everybody there. And right. I'm so happy that you have found that community, you and Ella both, and you're able to give back and have that therapy for yourself in the NIA community. Yeah. And I'm happy that Ella is able to make friendships and connections with other kids experiencing the same things in her life as well. Thank you so much for participating in the Pedra Community Spotlight. It has been a delight to highlight your story. My heart is with you and your journey that you've been on, and I'm so happy that Dupixent has been the right choice for you and Ella. And, you know, Pedra just wishes you both all the best.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you so much for talking with us and listening.
A big thank you to Amy and Ella for participating in Pedra's Community Spotlight this month. What an honor it was to hear their story and to hopefully learn from their experiences as research continues to happen. The National Eczema Association is a powerful organization. They are deeply involved in research and patient support. If you are a family who's newly diagnosed with this burden and this disease, please visit www.nationaleczema.org. They are there for you. It's a phenomenal community. If you are a researcher and you're interested in getting involved in eczema research, please reach out to Pedra or the National Eczema Association. You can find more information on Pedra's website at www.pedraresearch.org, and you can email us at info@pedraresearch.org. Thanks so much for joining us.